Hello everyone! So in today's episode I am going to be doing a tutorial and sort of an impromptu review on my experience with CSD-CAS. So if you are a fellow Speechie student, like myself, a fellow speech-language pathology student, and you've never heard of CSD-CAS before, you might just be asking, what is CSD-CAS? So CSD-CAS, or CSD-CAS, is the Communication Sciences and Disorders Centralized Application Service. Lots of words. Basically, this is an application service to help you get into grad school if you are going to be a CSD or speech therapy major. So I like to think of CSD-CAS as an umbrella application, meaning that you submit one huge application, but it actually is being submitted to a bunch of different schools. So one umbrella application, lots of little different schools it's being submitted to. It's oftentimes also referred to as a primary application, meaning that schools want you to submit an application through CSD-CAS first, but then they'll have you complete a secondary application asking for kind of lesser important information like residency information and just different tax information in the secondary application. But finally, you should think of CSD-CAS as a tool. This CSD-CAS application is something to be used as a tool. It's not the end goal. It's just to help you to get to your end goal, which is to be a speechie. So some of the key steps that I found to be helpful when completing my CSD-CAS application was to start early and to submit early. So it's really important that you start early. You really need to know what your deadlines are for each school. And to make sure that you are submitting early, I recommend submitting your entire application at least a month early before the deadline. So this means starting several months early. Secondly, make sure that you're checking for notifications often. I did not always receive notifications through email updating me on changes made to CSD-CAS. Like if I had a document or an LOR that was uploaded, I would not always get an email. So just make sure that you're actually checking the portal for notifications to make sure that everything is being uploaded properly and in time. And I also recommend that you print out your essay prompts once you are completed with writing them. And the only reason I say that is because, I don't know, if worse comes to shove and you have to wait another year for graduate school, like let's say you don't get into any of them and you have to apply a second time, it's a good idea to know exactly what you wrote in your essay prompts so that you can go back and be like, oh, well maybe I didn't get into this specific school because I wrote this. Or something like that, so that you know exactly what you wrote. You can keep it in your records, your files. So here's a little step-by-step guide. I'm trying to give sort of an overview, but number one, obviously create your account. Make sure that you are creating the account with a professional email, not like an email that you've had with like an embarrassing username since you were like 12 years old. But make sure that this is like a new, fresh email account. Because you know, like setting up an email account is free. So make sure that you are making good use of your resources and having a professional email that has your first and last name, either with like Gmail or Outlook or, well, I'm not a huge fan of Yahoo, but some people are. Step 2, fill in your personal email, or excuse me, fill in your personal info. So of course, obviously, like mailing address. They might ask you questions like, where have you lived for the past 5 years? Then they're also going to ask you for personal info. They're also going to ask you exactly what schools you have attended. So make sure that you list all of those and have the accurate dates for that. Step 3, academic history and transcripts. So I'm going to go into a bit more detail in the next slide for transcripts. So for transcripts, make sure that you are submitting several weeks before you actually submit CSD-CAS. You have two options for transcripts. You can choose either manual entry or professional entry. Manual entry is when, after you submit the transcripts, you are manually typing in course descriptions for like, oh, I've taken this prerequisite, and this is the section number, and this is the course catalog description. But if you don't have time for that, you can choose professional entry. Of course, obviously, you do have to pay a fee for that. I think it was about like $50 for you to get a professional entry. Again, submit the entire CSD-CAS application at least 1 month before the final deadline, especially if you choose professional entry for transcripts, because it can take up to 10 days for transcript evaluations to be finalized, even if transcripts are already submitted. So steps 4 through 6, of course, add in your supporting info and LOR. Step 5, program materials, and step 6, submit. And you might be wondering, why in the world is there a picture of like a pug dog and some donuts? And it's because, I'm not gonna lie, this process is stressful, and you're gonna have to look for things that are going to help you de-stress. And for me, looking at cute little pug pictures who are eating delicious donuts, that is helping me de-stress. And you might be like, what? But you know what? To each their own. So let's keep going. Alright, so for program materials, this is going to be the materials specific to each school that you are applying to. So sometimes they might ask for essay prompts. Make sure that you, of course, answer each part of the essay prompt. Sometimes they have a character count maximum or a word count maximum. Sometimes it's really short. You only have like 2 paragraphs to say what you want to say. So I highly recommend having someone look over your essay prompts before you submit it. Either a professional or just someone in your family who you know is like a really good editor. Sometimes the schools don't want essay prompts to be answered. They actually want you to record a video of yourself speaking. For some of you, you might have a preference for which is easier for you, but some other program material information that might be necessary could be certifying your residency, which is sometimes referred to as the RCN. Sometimes schools have you sign an agreement or check a box for an agreement that you are promising to honor their ethics code or their academic honesty system. And oftentimes for program materials, they have you give more details about course descriptions for prerequisites, either your plan for when you're going to complete them if you haven't already, or exactly what the course description was for your specific school for undergraduate. And then sometimes program materials include a resume. Usually it's between 1 to 2 pages. Alright, next we're going to be talking about LOR, and nope, not Lord of the Rings, but letters of recommendation. So I recommend that when you are requesting letters of recommendation, that you send your professor or your supervisor a packet of info. So that could include a headshot, screenshot of grades, a brief letter of intent. I personally recommend giving evaluators a deadline that is a month earlier than your deadline of when you are submitting your application. So for instance, if you know that you are submitting your application at, I don't know, let's just say middle of November, then make sure that you give your evaluators a deadline of middle of October. So of course send reminders that are polite and professional, and send a thank you. And of course, like, if you do get accepted, like, of course give them an update, because like they're probably wondering like, well, I mean, I wrote that person a letter and, you know, never heard back from them, like, you know, 5 years later. So so a lot of people have questions about LLRs on CSD-CAS, and so all you have to do is list the evaluator name and email address in the evaluations tab, and then CSD-CAS will email them with an LOR request. Sometimes have them check their spam. Sometimes it doesn't go to their main inbox, which is concerning. That's kind of a con for CSD-CAS. Also, sometimes if the email address that you're using for your evaluator, if they have a specific EDU email that's specific to their university, it's possible that CSD-CAS could be blocked. So you might need to get a more personal email address from your evaluator. It just depends. And if you end up having an issue with the email address that you had for your contact for the evaluator, you can either delete the LOR request and create a new one with a different evaluator contact email, or you might be able to actually edit and change that evaluator's email address to something different, just so that they receive the actual email request. And then on the CSD-CAS portal, you will be notified of their submission and whether or not it is complete or incomplete, along with the submission date. So you can have up to 5 maximum LOR requests. I recommend doing all 5 because you might have a professor that gets really slammed with homework. Well, I guess not homework, but I guess grading other people's homework. And they just, even though they promised, they might have something come up unexpected. So I recommend doing all 5. Yeah. So I hope that really helps you guys with your application, and I hope this helps you accomplish your dreams. Remember, CSD-CAS is just a tool, not the end goal. So stay speechy.